All right. Section 110, the coordinate plane is really important for the future of mathematics because it's going to lead to what we do down the road, and that's graphing lines. So let's talk about what the coordinate plane is. I don't know how much experience you have with this, so I'm going to go as in depth as I can. So first off, you know, you already know what the real number line is, okay? The real number line in mathematics is the real line or real number line is the line whose points are real numbers. So you have this number line, zeros in the middle, then you have all these positive numbers, right, that are to the right side of it, and all these negative numbers that are to the left. When we talk about a real number, right, we're talking about every single number you can think of. Positive, negative, whole number, integer, decimal, fraction, all of those are real numbers. Okay? Now, what happens is these real number lines, we use two of them to create the coordinate plane. And the coordinate plane is basically, right, formed by the intersection of these two number lines. So if you look here, this here is a coordinate plane. Okay? Now, in the coordinate plane, the horizontal number line is your x-axis. So when I look at this here is known as the x-axis. Now, the other one, right, is known as the y-axis. This is the vertical number line, right? So the y-axis is the vertical number line. The x-axis is the horizontal number line. Okay? Now, these two number lines take this coordinate plane, and we call it a plane because it's two-dimensional, right? And breaks it up into four quadrants. It's four sections the x and y axes divide the coordinate plane into. So here we have quadrant 1, then we go counterclockwise to quadrant 2, then to quadrant 3, and finally we end up with quadrant 4. Now what you have to notice is there's an intersection of the two axes here, and it breaks it up into one point here, which is called the origin. That is the intersection of the two. Now, when you go to the right side of the origin, right? When you go to the right side of the origin, all your x values are positive, right? When you go to the left side of the origin, all your x values are negative. When you go above the origin, all your y values are positive, right? And when you go below the origin, all your y values are negative. Now, the origin, the reason we have the origin is that is what we call an ordered pair 0, 0. That's where x is 0 and y is 0. Okay, now, when you think about it, we're going to come back here and we're going to talk, what is an ordered pair? Well, another ordered pair is another name for a point. And basically, it gives the coordinates and location of a point. Okay, now, when we look at it, in quadrant 1, every x coordinate, so when we talk about a point, I guess I should go here, an ordered pair always has an x value and a y value, okay? And that's where the location ends up being. So in quadrant 1, all of your x values are positive, and since you're above the x-axis, all your y values are positive. In quadrant 2, if you look, all your x values will be negative, and all your y values will be positive. Quadrant 3, if you look, you're to the left of the origin, which makes your x values negative. You're below the origin, so your y values are negative. Then in quadrant 4, since you're to the right of the origin, all your x values are positive. And then if you go below it, your y values are negative. So now, what do we do with this? Well, what we do is we plot points, okay? And plotting points means you're going to move left or right to your x coordinate, then move up or down to the y coordinate and plot a point. and you're going to name it. Okay, so what we do is we name it with a capital letter. So if we look here, down below we have 5 points that we're going to plot. Okay, now the first one, point A, is at 0, 3. So that's telling us x is 0, y is 3. So we're going to start at the origin. X is 0 at the origin, so we don't have to move left or right, but since y value is 3, we're going to go from 0 on the x-axis up to 3, plot a point, and name that point A. Now, when it says determine their location, it's not in a quadrant, so we're going to say it's on the y-axis. Okay? Number 2, point B is at 1, -2. So x is 1, y is -2. So we're going to start at the origin. We're going to move over to an x value of 1. We're not going to stop there. Now we're going to go down to -2 on the y and plot our point. So if it's almost look, if you draw a line through 1 and -2, the intersection of it is that point B. Now what quadrant is that in? If you look, right, it's in this quadrant down here, right? And we said that's quadrant 4. So that's in quadrant 4. Okay, let's look at another one. C is at -3, -4. So again, we start at the origin. We're going to go left to an x value of -3, and then take a journey down to -4. And if you look again, you have the intersection of -3 and -4. That's point C. And what quadrant is that in? Right? That is in quadrant 3. Point D. I look at point D is at -6, 5. So x is -6, so we're going to go left to -6. Y is +5, so we're going to go up to +5. Plot our point, and that is point D. All right. And what quadrant is that in? Quadrant 2. And number 5, if I look, x is -4, y is 0. So I start at the origin. I'm going to go left to -4. Y is 0, so I don't have to go up or down. I'm going to go ahead, plot point E there. All right. Now, that's not in a quadrant. What that is, it's on the x-axis. Okay. So, as important as it is to plot points, it's even more important to be able to gather ordered pairs here. So if we look at this, right, we have point A, point B, point C, D, and E. And we want to take this and we want to gather the ordered pairs. So point A, if I look, what you have to see here, sometimes it's a little difficult depending on the textbook, but this yellow one is the y-axis. This green one is the x-axis, okay? So we don't get that confused. So when I look at point A, if I start at the origin, it goes over 2, so your x value is 2, and then it goes up 2, so your y value is 2. Okay, and that is in quadrant 1. Point B, if I start at the origin, I go left to -4, so x is -4. I go up to 2, so y is 2. And obviously that's in quadrant 2. C, if I look, I start at the origin, I go left 2, so x is at -2, and I go down to -3, and that's the ordered pair there. Okay, D, if I start at the origin, I go right 4, so x is +4, then I go down 3, so y is -3. Then E, I start at the origin, I go over 1, right? So x is +1, since I went to the right one, down 4, so the y value is at -4. Okay, so basically, plotting these points takes us, to a further concept down the road that we'll be reviewing this, but it's important to get a foundation here so it makes it easier down the road. Okay, I want you to work on 110 reteaching worksheet. Then I want you to go ahead and check your answers and then do the practice worksheet and send them to me. Have a good day, bud.